your guide to the truth. thenewamericanmedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way Galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles to be specific. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Agree to Disagree. My name is Brian Engelman and I'm going to be your host as I have been for the past 4 years. Yes, we've been doing this show for a while now. Coming up in April, like the end of April and May. 2011 was the birthday of the New American Media. It's pretty neat. Just kind of getting warmed up, if you will. It's really what it is. It's really getting warmed up at this point. But hey, thanks so much for checking us out. If you haven't been to our homepage, you need to do that. Let's start with that. Go to thenewamericanmedia.com. On the right-hand side is TNAM Radio. That's where you click play to listen live. On the right-hand side is also our Facebook feed and our Twitter feed. On Facebook, you can do a search for The New American Media with spaces in between and like the page. And then underneath that would be Twitter. We're at American_media_. That's American_media_. So make sure you go ahead and connect with us over there. Subscribe, youtube.com/The New American Media. Join our 450,000 some other video views and leave some comments and check out our backlog. A lot of good interviews over the past couple of years. Please go check them out. So, today, man, there's a lot going on in the news. Jade Helm 13. Planes are being intentionally crashed into mountainsides. Amanda Knox is out. Harry Reid is not running for office again. The DEA is having crazy sex parties with prostitutes and organized crime. Monsanto has a paid shill say, hey, that stuff's safe. You can drink a cup of it and it won't hurt you. Oh, we have a cup back here. Would you drink it? Yeah, I'll drink it. Well, no, I'm not gonna drink it. I'm not stupid. Whoa, you gotta hear this. And you really gotta. Really, it's coming up into April. It's already spring. Make sure you plant yourself a garden this year. Make sure you're composting your food and you're trying to grow as organic and clean as possible. It's very important. It's your health. You only get one shot at this. Don't screw it up. So you got to check out and hear what the Monsanto rep had to say. But I'll tell you what, we want to bring in somebody that we connected with over at Solutions Institute. Isa Hodge. Beautiful. You hear that? You hear everything get scrickety and scrackety? Are those words, scrickety and scrackety? Probably not. Get a little funky when I mentioned his name, Isa Hodge. Oh, thank you, NSA. We can continue. He's a Muslim American issues activist fighting for the rights of all Americans and the preservation of the Constitution. Other than that, I want to bring him in and let you hear in his words where he's coming from. And we're going to kind of cover the things in the news. It's been a busy news week.
Hello.
Isa, this is Brian. You are live on Agree to Disagree. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm living the dream. Thank you very much.
That's all we can do.
Absolutely, man. Welcome to the show. First time. I just had mentioned that we had kind of ran across you. We had connected with you at Solutions Institute, and I kind of began reading your bio, but I don't like doing that. It's nice to set people up, but in another way, it's kind of nice to let them hear it, them explain themselves in their own words. So, Isa Hodge, I am pronouncing that correctly, right?
That is correct. That's
right. Because when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, who's Isa Hodge? No, it's Isa,
right,
Isa,
right.
Isa. I said, well, it's not spelled like Isa. It's like, it's Isa. Okay, fine, I think it's Isa. So, all right, we got your name right. So, we're hitting 1,000 now. We're 1 for 1. I like that batting average as baseball is about to start. Tell us a little bit about how you got connected with Solutions Institute.
Well, my connections with Solutions Institute is through Daniel Johnson. I met him a few years ago on a project that I was working on, a rally in D.C. at the National Mall. Basically, I come across him just prior to that through Panda and joined the organization Panda and was trying to work some things here in my home state with Panda.
And explain for people that, and Dan's been a guest on our show a few times, but for the people that aren't aware, explain what Panda is.
Oh, Panda is People Against the National Defensive Authorization Act created by the devils. by our government.
Same thing. Tomato, potato.
Yeah, same thing. So at that point, he was interested in my idea. At that time, I created the Million Muslim March in D.C. He was interested in the idea. He started to basically stalk me at that point, reading my articles. I had a talk show at that time called Real Political Talk with Isa. He began stalking me some more, and then got him interested, as well as a few other organizations in the rally in D.C., at which point we went ahead and changed it in January of 2013 to the Million American March Against Fear, at which point, for some reason, Million Muslim March wasn't attracting the mainstream media's attention, but when you changed it to Million American March Against Fear, and it was being organized by a Muslim, now all of a sudden mainstream media wanted to get, wanted to start.
Why do you think that was? What do you think the big difference was?
I think the big difference was that they were afraid that we were branching out to mainstream, to non-Muslims, which is ultimately what the goal was to begin with, because it's an American problem that we have. Doesn't matter what your faith is or no faith or whatever the case is. So if you can tarnish the idea, if you can blemish the idea, particularly when we began to get non-Muslim organizations on board, and you want to badmouth it. And, even though U.S. World News had done 2 articles announcing the change of the name, announcing the new organizations on there, Fox News continued to call it the Million Muslim March in order to change it. But even when it was the Million Muslim March, they didn't say anything. But it wasn't until U.S. World News actually in January of 2013 published the first article about it, announcing the change of the name of the march and the direction of the march and the rally. So from there, he was very. Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying it's interesting when you deal with major news outlets. It was funny because with it, we're going to talk a little bit about Jade Helm 15. Where Texans and pockets of American insurgents in Southern California. Oh, hell yeah, all right, cool. I guess I can go to that group. That sounds like me, I suppose. No, but there's this thing coming out, and Alex Jones and InfoWars are all over it, and everybody says consider the source and whatnot. But Fox News is citing, and it's almost like they should do air quotes. They go, an Austin-based radio host or something, like they're really trying to marginalize and kind of say the story and not really explain who it's coming from, and everybody knows where it's coming from. It's interesting in what they omit and what they choose to say. Everybody wants to take their own slant, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. Journalism will never. There's no such thing as neutral journalism. Everybody comes from their own point of view, and that's what they want to represent.
Correct.
But yeah, it's very interesting how you just change the name a little bit, and then who wants to still refer to them as ISIL or ISIS or IS or it's very interesting.
Or a bag of idiots. I mean, yeah, it's it actually was. This is what Daniel got me interested in with Solutions Institute. I'm one of the advisors on the board there for media manipulation, because ultimately that's basically what I did. Was I manipulated mainstream media. Because one of the members within the organization, he was from Bangladesh. His English was not perfect, but he did serve in the Iraq War. He's a Muslim, and he served in the Iraq War for the United States government. He did his 8 years in the Army, and so he acclimated himself as a United States citizen, in so many ways. They decided to circumvent me, who I was the event organizer, and decided to try to attack him on Sean Hannity's show. And of course, I mean, with his English skills and, his ability to fully understand, how we can be very tricky with our questions. how we can lead people along with questions. If you don't have a firm grasp of the English language, you could fall victim. And this is exactly what they did.
Well, and everybody in Congress, Isa, everybody in Congress is a lawyer. They do the same thing. They want to trap you on, it depends on what your definition of the word is. These guys are wordsmith bullshit artists, like the upper echelon. It doesn't get any slimier than news media or politicians, and they're so in bed with each other. It's just a huge 80-person orgy. It's like a battle royal every time a big news story comes out, and they're all in on it, and it's so obvious when, people use the same stale talking points, and it's like you can tell when they're not thinkers, they're just regurgitators. Everything has to be scripted. I just don't roll that way. I go with loose outline, and I color really strange colors in between the lines. I just prefer it that way.
Yeah, it's always... I always feel like I need a shower with bleach and a Brillo pad when I have to deal with politicians and the media at the same time. I feel like I'm the rotten meat in the middle of this disgusting sandwich here that they're trying to, I need therapy afterwards. My medication is increased at that point. It's just really traumatizing. It really is. So basically what I did was I used the media and their fever for this anti-Muslim, anti-Islam rhetoric, and basically, instructed, my partner in the rally, and told him that, that you're like their new chew toy. They're going to want you on their show again. Everybody, Jeannie Piero, they're all going to want to take a bite out of you. And when they do the next time, you're going to make sure that I'm with you on there. And we had a plan where you would just basically have set answers that you would answer, but then you would always kick the questions over to me. I said, because if you take somebody that's articulate and speaks the same language, looks like them, because I'm a white American. I was born and raised in this country. And you pit me against them, wits against wits, it's going to be harder for them. It didn't take Jeannie Piero 10 minutes into the show before she cut my mic. Literally was doing the whole neck slicing thing, screaming, cut his mic. And then the icing on the cake was I knew that they weren't done chewing on him. So I said that they would call again. And when they did, this time we were going to put one of the other organizers on there that was not a Muslim, but we were not going to tell them that he was not a Muslim. This was Chris from MAD that we put on there, March Against Drones. And basically what I told him is that you don't announce that you're not a Muslim until they A, say something like they were to ask you, or it's close towards the end of the show. I said, they're going to treat you like you're a Muslim the entire show. And sure enough, it's exactly how it played out. They talked to him like he was a Muslim. They talked to him. And then was this
a dude that would pass as Middle Eastern, whatever classic look that would be?
No, he had Chris Phillips. He has his hair pulled back in a ponytail. Very Anglo-Saxon, Caucasian, white like me. Or
oh, okay.
He wouldn't have passed for Middle Eastern at all, not in the slightest. But towards the end of the show, they asked him a question: if Hamas wanted to come over and join the rally, would we allow it? And he basically said if they come in peace and they're not trying to kill anybody, sure they can join. And Sean Hannity and them started jumping on him, talking about how he was a horrible Muslim and that you're a problem. And he just said, I'm not a Muslim. I'm a Christian. And Sean Hannity's jaw just dropped. I mean, it was like dead silence. It was crickets. It was beautiful, actually. And we were able to, in that incident, with a combination of the other 3 shows as well as the 5, those 4 Fox News, I was able to paint a very broad picture to show, number one, the one-sided bigotry that's there. I mean, the lack of journalism, which we all know, but also just point blank showed the agenda that Fox News, and not just Fox News, CNN does it with a little bit of sugar. MSNBC does it with a lot of sugar. And Fox News just pees all over it. I mean, that's just how they have all pushed this agenda. And Daniel Johnson actually was astounded, just absolutely shocked at how I was able to do that. And so this is what brings me to Solution Institute, is that, I bring a sense of past history of being able to manipulate mainstream media and to get their attention. And then at the same time, for us as activists, to be able to use that, use the devil with its own tools, use the devil's tools against itself.
Yeah, and I've been seeing some reports coming out saying that, you should get off of Facebook, that you're being spied on, and, there's this new report out.
Yeah.
And my thought is, or use it against them.
Exactly.
I mean, it's here. What am I going to hide in a cave and pretend I don't think the things I think? I do a damn radio show. I'm a pretty open book. What am I hiding from? No, I'm going to stand up and speak loud. I'm not going to cower in a cave, because as long as we have this toy, man, I'm going to use it. Who knows how long we have the internet as we know it?
Well, not just the internet, but just being able to have a conversation like this, where we don't have cameras on our TV that records everything we say, and next thing you know, right in the middle of a conversation you're having with your spouse about how you hate taxes, and you've got Gestapo IRS knocking on your door, or hey, you're anti-war, and Uncle Sam's at your door. I mean, we're not too far away from this. We're really not, and people are so fearful of things that statistically are just not there, and I'm mainly referring to Muslim terrorists. I mean, statistically, it's just not there. But people, our government media has done such a good job. We're going to be talking about ISIS, or we're going to be talking about Iran. You can't talk about ISIS without Iran. So we're going to be talking a little bit about both of that later on, I assume.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm interested to get your take. I mean, I was brought up as a Christian in the Midwest, and I've been living out in California for 10 years, so I'm very, fiscally conservative, socially libertarian, and pro-capitalist, whatever that means. But I'm an American, but not only that, I'm a dude. I'm a human being as far as I can tell. Right. I'm some entity experiencing Earth in this meat suit. I don't know if I have an avatar somewhere else, and this is really the dream. I have no idea, man. We're all just guessing. Jesus, Muhammad, everything we want to think about, we're doing the best we can. We're kind of guessing. Right. We're putting it in faith. We're making it up. And I just don't want people killing over it. I'm obviously coming from that Christian perspective, and most of my life it's like, oh, Israel good. And then you see a lot of these stories, and like, okay, what is really going on? How do we negotiate a ceasefire? How can we just get people to stop killing? And some groups seem like there's nothing you can do to fix that. And that's the crux of this. But, this thing is here. I just posted on our Facebook page. I was scrolling through trying to find this article, and here's a little graphic. It's a meme, and it shows like the side view of your truck mirror. And it says it's a lot of dust in the background. You can see the car, and then in the background there's a tank. And it says, the New World Order is closer than it appears. And, it really is time for all of us to kind of just figure out where the bullshit is and start moving past it. I pulled up this article here from The Guardian. It says, leave Facebook if you don't want to be spied on, warns EU. European Commission admits safe harbor framework cannot ensure privacy of EU citizens' data when sent to the U.S. by American internet firms. I'll just leave it at that. But they're basically saying, get off of Facebook. And people call it spook book or CIA book or...
But also, couldn't that also be, more trolling? Because you look at us as activists. I also have a radio show that I've been going for.
You know what? Tell us about your radio show, your website. Give us all of that info, and then we'll get into all these news stories. Does that work for you?
That's fine. My show is called A Muslim and a Catholic Wake Up in Merica. I'm on JRev Radio. I'll be on Liberty. I take Liberty with my coffee radio as well. And Blog Talk Radio also. It's simulcasted on 3 networks as of right now. And basically the show is myself, the Muslim, of course, and then my co-host is the Catholic. He's a good friend of mine for many, many years. And we take politics and we make it funny, but educating at the same time. We poke fun at politicians, and we poke fun at ignorant people in religion, whether it's ISIS or, some Catholic priest who likes to, dabble in the nightlife with little boys or whatever the case may be. But we talk about the news, but and we talk about politics. We avoid, Tom Cruise and the actors and the singers and all that because, I mean, let's face it, Americans get enough of that already. They don't need us talking about that too. So,
I try to walk a fine line because I do a sports show called The Unhappy Hour because I'm an Indians, Cavs, and Browns fan.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, man, it's been a long existence. 0 titles in my entire life, times 3 teams. That's tough to do. As Mike Polk says, it is statistically more unlikely that you can be this consistently bad than for you to occasionally accidentally be good. And that really sums it up. It is something historic that Cleveland is witnessing. Hopefully LeBron can bring home a title. Anyhow, I digress. So I obviously do sports, and then I do politics, but then I try to also ponder the earthly experience and ponder the afterlife, and I try to get into more metaphysical and ancient alien stuff, trying to understand how did this get here, what happens when we're leaving here. Those are the important things. But yeah, I mean, I get sucked into the current events from time to time. I try to keep most of that stuff sports related though, because that's the my soap opera of choice, I think.
I'm a Giants fan, so I mean, I completely understand. I'm a Yankees fan as well, so and we have lots of titles. I could share one with you if you'd like. Would you like?
You know what? I'll tell you what.
Okay.
I kind of do, but I'll tell you what. Let me see if LeBron and the boys can go grab one of their own and hoist it up, and I can fly back home for the parade. Maybe that'll happen. Now, if it doesn't, then we can talk again about that. But no, I just there's important stuff to talk about, and that's why our show is called Agree to Disagree. It's okay that we don't agree on all the issues. It's fine. Just let's keep it mostly civil. Mostly make your passionate point, but just stay mostly civil. And I'll bet you we might agree on a couple of things. That's how people should be navigating this planet, and for some reason we don't like doing it that way. That's too easy. People want to avoid it at work, but when they do get into conversations, they get so heated and passionate they can't really keep track of staying kind of civil. Do you encounter that?
I encounter it all the time, whether it's with my patients, whether it's with I talk politics with my patients. I don't just talk health with them. I talk, especially with the pediatrician, with the kids. I'm like, hey, look, I'm trying to do what I can do here, but here pretty soon you need to pick up the mantle. This is stop allowing them to make you entitled and stop making them feel like you're an individual when really it's a collective issue that we have. But I run across it all the time, whether it's at work or through the political activism. The problem is that people want to be right so often, and when they can't, especially when they meet people that they cannot actually counter, inevitably they always go to emotion. Time and time again, for me as a Muslim, I'm a libertarian. I don't agree with homosexuality, but I'm not going to tell another man or woman what they can and cannot do in the privacy of their own home. Okay, I don't agree with it for me because of my faith, but that doesn't mean that I have to browbeat somebody else, or
literally take them 13 floors up and tie their hands behind their back and throw them off a building.
Exactly.
There's a big difference between not being down with what other people are up to and burning people alive, beheading people, torturing people, throwing them, lock them up, throw away the key. There's a huge difference. That's why I think libertarianism is the only way forward. This left and right crap, it's a one-party system. They've taken both extremes and they convince you they're the only two games in town, and it's got to change.
Well, they're following the Roman Empire. I mean, if you look at the final fall of the Roman Empire, they basically had a two-caste system, and basically all they did was give circus and bread to keep the masses, in control. But they had spread themselves so thin across so much land that they couldn't afford it, and the corruption was so deep within the center of Rome that they failed. I mean, they were easy pickings for other nations. And this is where we find ourselves, you're talking about Jade Helm 15, for example.
Yeah.
We've got China with their massive $80 billion worth of gold stockpile, and that's just a guess. But we know that the BRICS program is out there, that Russia and China, Germany, the wealthiest nation in the EU. There are several nations on board with the decline of the American dollar as the world currency. And as China gets, richer and they hoard more gold, they're going to have the buying power to make any nation do as they wish. And what happens to us at that point? We become a third world overnight.
Or it could be Mad Max kind of style. Everything. Have you ever studied EMPs?
You're talking about electromagnetic pulse?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know of them.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few things like the TV show Jericho, or read the book. What is it? What the hell? One second after. Actually, man, I can't remember the name of that damn book. Anyway, yeah, I see so many ways that everything we woke up with this morning could be totally different tomorrow. We could have a world that we could never go back to if the technology was kept away or if we were attacked. From within or from without.
Yeah. Well, name an empire that's fallen that's ever come back.
I don't know. The Atlanteans, the Greys, the Archons, those who have never left. I don't know. We're not.
There isn't an empire
that
has ever fallen that's ever come back. Okay, I mean there hasn't. And in all reality, our empire is the shortest. It would be the shortest in the history of empires.
God, how disappointing! That's a record you don't want to have. Like, yeah, we screwed this up way quicker than all you guys before us. Not only did we not learn from history and we're doomed to repeat it, we tried to beat a new record for massive stupidity. I just wanted to live such a selfish and reckless 55 years that I wanted to torch and burn everything in the generations coming after me. Like, that's who we've run up against. That's who our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents and our great-great-grandparents, that's who their generation was. I talked last week or 2 weeks ago with Laura Eisenhower, great-granddaughter of President Eisenhower, and talking about the military-industrial complex. He warned everybody in a classic speech about the military-industrial complex. And here we are. You got Jade 15. Jade Helm 15. I have a story here. I kind of want to explain what this is because I like the direction we're taking this. Very apocalyptic, very quick. Because I really think it is time to pay attention and pay a little bit more attention than yesterday. Try to wake up someone else in your life, your inner circle of friends, neighbors, family, what have you. I have this in front of me here. It says, a key component of the controversial Jade Helm military exercise, set to take part in 9 U.S. states this summer, will involve soldiers operating undetected amongst civilian populations to see if they can infiltrate without being noticed. The realistic military training exercise, which will involve the Green Berets, Navy SEALs, and the 82nd Airborne Division, is set to take place July 15 through September 15, but has prompted concerns after Texas and Utah were labeled hostile territory in documents related to the exercise. A Houston Chronicle report reveals that the soldiers will attempt to blend in with the local population in an effort to test the effectiveness of infiltration techniques. Residents will be advised to report suspicious activity during the exercise. Quote, they're going to set up cells of people and test how well they're able to move around without getting too noticed in the community, said Ray Boyd, chief deputy with the Victoria County Sheriff's Office. Quote, they're testing their abilities to basically blend in with the local environment and not stand out and blow their cover, end quote. By directly involving unwitting members of the local population, this aspect of the drill contradicts the Army's assertion that the public can expect nothing much different from their day-to-day activities, since much of the exercise will be conducted in remote areas. So, what are you to make of something like this, without jumping to the conclusion that the end of the world begins July 15th? I don't think that's exactly what people are saying, but that this is part of a desensitization campaign, that it's further blurring the lines of posse comitatus with the military and the local police, and that we're not supposed to have a standing army the way that we do on our own soil. How do you take apart a story like this?
Well, basically, it's just another step forward. If you take a frog and you have a pot on the stove of water, and you put that frog in the water, and you turn the fire on, and you slowly, gradually turn it up, that frog will never jump out of that water. The frog will literally let itself get boiled to death. We as humans, particularly us as Americans, because we have been so spoiled with all our advancements, with all our wealth, with all of our privilege that so many countries in the world have not had, we're just like that frog. So if you run out, any time in history, even if you do it today, if you run out and you just completely disband the Constitution, completely make this illegal, everything's illegal, you go to work when I tell you this is where you work, this is what you do. If you did this, you'd have mass hysteria and you'd have, 300 million Americans hitting the street. I mean, literally, you would have that many. But if you gradually take away rights, slowly over time, you get used to that and you get accepted of that. And so that you allow the next step. Everything, especially over the last 14 years, since 9/11 is the catalyst, to be honest with you. 9/11, with the creation of the Patriot Act, with the creation of the NDAA, we look at these false flag events like Boston Marathon bombing, for example. Okay, there was absolutely nothing that the United States government or local police did that helped arrest the suspects. Everything that they had were from private businesses and people reporting of a bleeding person in a boat, okay? Nothing that the police did. But what did they do? They got to go to the town of Watertown with the military, with fully automatic rifles, forcefully pull people from their homes, and search their homes without a warrant, without one person in the town of Watertown raising their hand in objection. They say, excuse me, I already told you there's nobody here. You need a warrant to come in here. Plus the violation of no use of military on government soil during war or peace, on American soil during war or peace time. I mean, they violated so many rights, but yet nobody raised a fit. Nobody said anything about it.
You and I did, but we weren't. That wasn't our city.
It wasn't our city, exactly. Everybody in Watertown was like, thank you, Master. Oh, thank you so much, Master, for keeping us safe from these terrible boogeymen that you've now created for us. Thank you so much. Please just destroy my house. Kick my door in. Point your gun at my daughter, please. Oh, pull the trigger, please. Come on, pull the trigger.
Maybe even shoot my dog while I'm at it. That'd be neat. Tase my elderly father, throw a flashbang grenade into my son's crib. That'd be cool.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'll pass on that.
So when you do these things and you sign bills like the New Martial Law was signed in secrecy, the NDAA was signed in secrecy. I mean the Trans-Pacific Partnership is being signed, organized and signed in secrecy. We start looking at the things that they do in secret, and then we look at the steady trickle of the decline of the Constitution and the civil rights of America. And then you don't see mass people hitting the streets. And so when you take Helm, for example, this is just a testing ground. This is just another test for them to see if there's any pushback by the citizens. And if there's any pushback from the citizens, they'll lay off. And they'll wait and bide their time and pass some more laws in secret, and then they'll try something else. Everything is trial and error because the thing that we as citizens forget, we're the majority. We don't care how much weapons they have. We don't care how many guns they have. We don't care how many police officers they militarize. We don't care how many people they have in the military. We still outnumber them significantly. That is a threat. That is a threat to what they're attempting to do.
And that's why anytime you hear people talking about the United Nations or you have Blackwater, you're like, oh, well, blah, 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 trying to find a way to justify it. It's like, dude, these are like the Hessians coming over in the Revolutionary War. They're fighting for the highest bidder, and these things are coming to our shores, and we're doing this in other countries. Guys, can we wake the hell up and not be cool with this?
Unfortunately, I see it going one of two ways. I see positivity. I mean, I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. So it's kind of an internal struggle, to say the least. Okay,
yeah, I hear you.
I see an awakening of people. There are people within my own life that I've affected that were so blind to think that I was their enemy and my faith was the enemy. And it's like, look, you don't have to like my faith. I don't care. I'm not going to lose any sleep if you don't like my faith. All right? But have you ever directly had anything done to you by a Muslim? No. All right. Have you ever had directly anything done to you by the police or the government? Yes, I have. Oh, we have something in common. So why don't we cross the bridge of you not liking my faith after we get rid of the ones that are picking our pockets and using us as cannon fodder? How about we just try that? And it's amazing. It's amazing to me how many people, just with that kind of logic, it's like, you don't like me, that's fine. But if we got a common enemy, the enemy of my enemy can be your friend until that enemy is gone, and then we can talk about whatever your issues are with me and my faith.
Yeah, and as long as somebody's faith isn't telling them to kill, like then I can kind of be cool with that, and it's just you look up and you look at, why is the post office getting armed to the teeth? Why is Social Security Administration, the Office of the Aging? You go down this whole list and it's like, I'll tell you what. At some point, you've just studied enough, and it's like, man, do I really need to sit here and give a new dissertation on all the reasons why I am convinced that things are headed really badly for us if we allow it to continue as it is? No, I've kind of made up my mind that it's kind of danger, Will Robinson. Sound the alarms. We're going down. That's an interesting segue here, because we got to talk about this Germanwings flight that crashed. What are your thoughts on this? I was checking this out here from naturalnews.com. It's saying the Germanwings air catastrophe is now widely being reported as a murder-suicide, based on the audio evidence that paints the picture of a co-pilot locking everyone else out of the flight deck while he calmly flew the plane into a collision course with a mountain. Okay, here we go. The reported behavior of Andrea Lubitz is eerily similar to SSRI drug-induced school shooters who carried out mass murders in the United States. See the detailed list below. In case after case, school shooters have been found to either be on prescription antidepressant drugs or recently taken off them, causing withdrawal side effects. That seems to be the story that we're getting now. We're not seeing any, 9/11 style theories as to what happened. They're saying this guy kicked people out. He was depressed. He was on antidepressants anyway, and he just locked the door, and they figured it out, and they're banging, hitting it with an axe, trying to break through the door, but it had been too engineered to protect them inside that they didn't think of this option. And he flew them into the mountain and destroyed them all. What do you make of this? Because this is kind of the biggest story of the entire week.
Well, to be honest with you, I think it's just a crazy person. I think that there is something to say about these anti-anxiety medications. I'm in the medical field. I own a clinic. So, I mean, I deal with this. And I'm not a big fan of these psychotropic drugs. I'm not a big fan of the anxiety medications or the depression medications or the bipolar medications because I know what they do. They keep the person in this cycle of depression and psychosis. This is what happens. But what I find funny about the story is that what do you think the headlines would have been if his name was Ali?
I know exactly what they would have been. Here's another one. Absolutely. Mohammed Who was flying. And if you actually looked, like a day ago, before they released who this was, all of the top comments were, why are they withholding the guy's name? Oh, I check every flight I get on to see if there's a Mohammed flying the plane. And those were the top comments. I forget what damn site it was. But yeah, that was a year ago. If that was the headline, that's exactly what people would have said.
Well, I mean, it's no different than, you did hear about, this was this week. I have one for you that coincides with what we're talking in, so I'm not distracting you here, which we tend to do a lot. But
that's all good.
Richard White, the 63-year-old former Army serviceman, who had long been retired, and a devout Jehovah's Witness, decided that he wanted to go up in an airport and started to attack TSA agents.
Did I see that one? That was... It caught that on like a cell phone camera or something?
Yeah, he was carrying a duffel bag, and it held like 6 homemade explosives, a machete, a poison spray, and he walked right into an airport and immediately began to attack TSA security guards.
Huh.
He sprayed two of the officers, and he grabbed his machete, chased another one. This just happened on I think it was like the 23rd, actually, is when this happened of this month. But the thing is, within 2 hours, the police had the investigation wrapped up, chalked it up to he had mental issues. They had a mental history, okay? And so this is the hypocrisy. His name, this guy had done this, and his name was Akbar or Hussein or Yusuf or, any Arab name you can think of. This would have been all over mainstream media, but instead, I'm getting it from alternative media sources, like the Daily Beast, for example, is where I got this from, all right, which is where I first found this. When you have an attack in Oslo, Norway, where a guy who writes a 1,500-page manifesto calling on the Fourth Christian Crusade to stop the Muslimization of the world by any means necessary, even weapons of mass destruction, and he decides to go on an island and kill 93 Muslims, children for that, dressed in a police uniform, but yet he's called crazy. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, anybody, whether you burn somebody alive like ISIS or cut their heads off, or you go on an island and shoot 93 children, or you fly a plane into a mountain or a skyscraper, you're all crazy.
Crazy is crazy.
All of them are nuts. But only if you happen to be of a particular religion and or race are you considered this special kind of crazy, which is terrorist, which is, of course, we know, thanks to the NDAA, a war. It's a war. It's an act of war. So.
In the NDAA, of course, Section 1021 and 1022 declaring that the United States is a battlefield, and that we can be unlawfully, illegally detained without charge, without trial, indefinitely, just basically erased. That's how severe the NDAA is, and this is something.
That's right.
This is something that is in the infrastructure that could be used for some reason at some point. I mean, we have Bo Bergdahl, a traitor, being traded for 5 people in the Taliban, captured on the battlefield because they just gotta close Gitmo at all costs, and we're doing this for 3 people that have already reached back out to the fighting troops in ISIS or ISIL or Al-Qaeda, however, whoever's with Boko Haram, doesn't even matter whichever group, with people picking up arms and shooting people. I mean, I'm not doing that here. I'm just saying that's not me in the group.
Right. Oh, no.
I mean, it's just none of it makes any sense across the board. It's all a bunch of nonsense. We can't even keep this straight. I don't even think we know who we've triple-crossed because we've double-crossed because we already quadruple-crossed. This foreign policy is just a complete nightmare.
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, and it's like this. If you could imagine somebody coming to our country, just coming to your house. Let's say, Brian, I come over to your house, and I'm going to assume you have some guns, but I come with more guns, okay? And I come with more people, and I say, I like your house, Brian. You're getting out of my house. You won't get out of my house? That's okay. Well, I'll destroy it because the land is really what I want, so I drop bombs on you. Your family's in the house and all that. You survive. Now, are you going to be a friend to me? Are you going to like me after that point? I just killed your entire family. All because I wanted the land, or I wanted something in your house, or I wanted the house, whatever the case may be. But you're not going to be a friend to me. So how is it that they're a terrorist when they're upset? I've been overseas. Last year I was in Tunisia, for example, which is an Islamic country in northern Africa. And I was there for a few months, a couple of months, both times I was over there. And I did some interviews while I was over there, and I talked with old, young, Muslims who were traditional that you would typically see in your nightly news, and then others looked like they would just be strolling on the beach somewhere, walking on a nice day with cleavage and arms showing and everything like that.
Now, I'll watch this interview now. Now, yes, where can I see this?
I got you interested now, don't I?
Yes, I am now awake. Yes, tell me more about this Tunis. Okay.
I'll direct you to the YouTube video of it then. So So anyways, and universally, across the board, what I got was that they loved America. They loved our freedoms. They want to dress like us. They want to sing like us. They want to talk like us. They want to be us as far as the citizens are concerned. They absolutely, positively, unequivocally hate our foreign policy.
So what's
it's
the way
government
out of
that they don't
this?
like.
What is the way out of this? What will it take? Does Israel have to be executed, every one of them, like Hitler? Is that the linchpin in the Middle East? Is that the until Israel is executed, this will never calm down? I can't make sense of it. I literally can't make.
What do you mean?
But since
World, what do you mean?
Since World War,
Israel?
Well, it's just since World War II and carving out territories and the Golan Heights, and then you go down that line and it's an open air prison. Okay, so how do we fix this? Can we, and some groups, Hezbollah, no, death to Israel, and then Iran wants a nuclear bomb, and then it just keeps going and going and going and going.
Well, there's a simple solution for us to stop. Like for me personally, I think that Israel is a rogue state. I mean, many people have said. I mean, you've got, I'm drawing a blank on it, Albert Einstein, who was the first person that was asked to be the president of Israel, and he denied. He denounced and said, "I would never be that. Israel doesn't exist." Albert Einstein refused to be the first president of Israel, because he said that the Jews weren't supposed to have their own state. All right. Well, now we're 40 to 50 some odd years later, they got one. Okay, fine. There is possibility for a two-party state, a two-state solution, but not as long as our tax dollars is continuing to fund one side.
Hey, you know what?
Other.
At this, okay, good. I'm glad we had that last part, because I'll tell you what. It seems like we're funding and arming everybody. We want. I'll tell you what. Like that whole Benghazi thing stunk from day one about running guns and arms and weapons through, Libya and Turkey and Syria and proxy wars with China and Russia, and it's like, holy shit, guys! Like, I don't know.
We did the same thing in World War II, buddy. We did the same thing in World War II. Where do you think Chase Morgan got their riches from? How they became so wealthy was they funded both sides of the English Channel. That's how they got their wealth.
Beautiful, huh? Like that's got to be a chest puffing out kind of moment. Like, look at all the good I've done for the world.
Yeah.
Isn't this swell?
What we've done. We bombed democracy into you. No, I think there's a simple solution for Israel. There actually is a simple solution that would cause a lot of these proxy wars. What we did in Libya was unconscionable. What we did in Libya was illegal, it was unconstitutional. I don't see how Obama is still in office, to be honest with you. How he's not brought up on charges.
You know what? You came to the right the right radio show. I've done shows about him. I did a good one with John B. Wells about is it time to impeach the president. I'm surprised Bush got through, and even more so now. I just think it's gotten the scrutiny has gotten so much brighter with social media in the past 6 years of Obama. Bush got away with a lot of crap. I posted something the other day on Facebook that, man, am I glad I grew up in a time when cell phone cameras weren't everywhere. And wow, did I get a lot of feedback. And, it's a different time now in 2015. You just can't make up the stuff and expect it to get brushed aside. This digital footprint of Bo Bergdahl, he served with honor and distinction. No, he deserted the troops and joined a group who put him in a cage for half a decade. And then we trade 5 bad guys for him. No, that's good, Obama. Then please negotiate an Iran deal. But don't tell Congress or don't tell anyone. Just do your thing. Like, I don't trust this guy to play poker, and I don't trust. Actually, here's a question. I wrote this down. I wanted to ask you about it. Would you say that President Obama is either incompetent or playing for the other team?
He's not incompetent. He is just another cog in the wheel, to be honest with you. At first, I was bamboozled by his promises. I was overjoyed that there was somebody who was not white, who had not come from a long line of politicians, who didn't come from money, that was going to be president. Somebody I thought that, was like myself, that came from poverty and pulled his bootstraps on, got his education, and did the things he needed to do. But in a very, very quick amount of time, 3 months, I began to see that he's nothing but another pawn. No different than Bush or Clinton or Bush Daddy or Reagan. The list goes on and on and on. I think the last real president we ever had, in my personal opinion, is John F. Kennedy, and we see what happened to him.
Yeah,
okay?
he didn't last very long. Yeah, it was pretty much Eisenhower to Kennedy, and we saw how that happened. Eisenhower just scared as hell.
One of my favorite presidents, actually.
Eisenhower scared as hell on his farewell address, like, "Hey, beware of the military-industrial complex," almost like expecting a red dot to show up on his shoulder and his temple as he was saying
exactly.
it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that what Obama is that he is just a figurehead. He's just a black face to show the country and the world, look at us, look how progressive we are, look how advanced we are, just like Hillary will be as well. And that's right, I didn't say it wrong. Her name is Hillary. I do not call her by her given name, because she is a female Hitler. I'm sorry. So
Hear, hear.
Hillary.
What a nightmare that would be. I'm not voting Bush. I'm not voting Clinton. I think our entire country would do very well to remember that. No more Clinton. No more Bush.
Yeah, we've had enough. We've had too many Clintons and a Bush, and we've had too many Bushes covering Clintons. Their connection goes all the way to the Whitewater scandals in Arkansas, with the Iran-Contra scandals with Daddy Bush and Clinton in some little small town in Arkansas, where they were shipping, illegal guns to the Contras, and they were shipping cocaine back. This is what flooded our streets with crack cocaine and things of this nature. There's video, there's evidence. There's all kinds of evidence. Yet Clinton still became president. So did Bush, and so did Bush's son. Who was actually enjoying the cocaine his daddy was bringing in. A little too much, actually.
Pulling a Johnny Manziel.
Exactly. So, my thing with Obama is that I thought, to be honest with you, my biggest hope with him was that, he wasn't Muslim, which is fine. It doesn't bother me, okay? I don't care what a person's faith is. But he was Muslim, and he was raised around Muslims. So he understood that the events of 9/11 and everything that they're pushing in the media about Muslims, he knew that wasn't true. So we had a leader that could help to gear us away from this very scary cycle of violence that I see our country going through, which is nothing but a distraction tactic from the elite, from the oligarchy, from the minority who want to strip us of our wealth and move on to the next country to do the same thing to whatever superpower rises next.
Yeah, George Soros set his sights on us a while ago. He's done this before.
Yeah.
These people have no conscience. They have no soul. They don't give a damn about you, to paraphrase George Carlin. And this is the direction we're headed. And it's a bizarre place that we're at. But, hey, let me tell you, the other place that we're at is we're starting to run out of time here. And I wanted to just – how about I do this? How about I kind of give you the crux of a story and then give me your feedback to it? I have about 6 or 7 stories here. What's that?
I said I'll try to make it quick. I'll try to make my answers quick.
Okay. Did you follow this Amanda Knox killing at all? I got to say, I kind of didn't.
I did not, actually.
Well, then the news is Italy's highest court acquitted Amanda Knox of killing her roommate. So that is ending her saga, and I am ending that story on the program. But it's worth noting. What do you make of this thing here? On Politico, DEA agents had sex parties with prostitutes. Agents of the Drug Enforcement Administration reportedly had sex parties with prostitutes hired by drug cartels in Colombia, according to a new Inspector General report released by the Justice Department on Thursday. In addition, Colombian police officers allegedly provided protection for the DEA agents' weapons and property during the parties. 10 DEA agents later admitted attending the parties, and some of the agents received suspensions of 2 to 10 days. What do you make of this?
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, they must have got a hold. They must have got a hold of the same pimp that provided the same prostitutes from the same country to Secret Service for Obama when he went down to Colombia a couple of years ago. The exact same thing.
I remember this. This was 2012. 2012,
Yeah.
and I did a radio show on it, and I said, for the love of God, Secret Service, keep our president safe so that we can vote him out of office. I remember that show specifically, and yeah, I mean, I'm.
And they got this stamp on speed dial, and they pass it around into offices. Whether it's the FBI, next time it's going to be the NSA agents. It's their turn this year.
Oh man, well, we already know about the Bill Clinton stuff and Jeffrey Epstein going to these pedophile islands, and man, these stories get weird when you go down this rabbit hole. Have you taken any time to go down this? The royal family, the Bill Clinton connection, the Jeffrey Epstein thing, the Catholic Church. Have you gone there in your research?
Actually, we did a show. We did a show on my radio show about that. We went down that rabbit hole and we came out of the other end. We definitely needed some therapy after that because it was pretty disgusting, to be honest with you.
Hey, you know what? Talking about pretty disgusting, I want to toss this out here. This, if you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. This is a lobbyist with Monsanto, and I just want to play it for you. I'm just going to play it for you. I'll try to set it up as best I can. See what needs to be explained, what doesn't. And buffering. Thank you, ObamaNet. Thanks, ObamaNet.
Do not believe that glyphosate in Argentina is causing increases in cancer.
Okay, now here's the scumbag saying that there's the I should learn how to say this. Glyphosate is not causing cancer in Argentina. This is so.
Do not believe that glyphosate in Argentina is causing increases in cancer. You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you.
He makes the drinky motion with his elbow and hand, like if you'd say to a bartender, "Hey, buddy, I need a beer," and the guy sitting across from him, his eyes kind of light up. He's like, "Seriously, did hold on, let me hear you make sure. Did you just say you could drink a cup of it, a quart of it?"
Do not believe that glyphosate in Argentina is causing increases in cancer. You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you.
You want to drink some? We have some here.
I'd be happy to, actually.
I'd be happy to.
Not really, but
Not really?
I know it wouldn't hurt me.
If you say so, I have some glyphosate.
No, I'm not stupid.
Oh, okay, so you
No, but I know
so it's dangerous, right?
No, people try to commit suicide with it and
but
fail fairly regularly.
Tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
So you're ready to drink one glass of
No,
glyphosate?
I'm not.
Are you ready to go in class?
Interview me about golden rice. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, then it's finished. Then the interview is finished.
That's a good way to solve things.
Yeah. You're a complete jerk.
You could even drink a quart of it. Oh, good, I have some here. You'll drink a quart of it? No, I'm not stupid. I mean, have you ever heard something just go so poorly yet so beautifully demonstrative of exactly how two-faced and corrupt these people are? Have you ever heard anything that good?
I don't think I have, actually. That was priceless. Yeah, I heard that earlier today, actually. And I was like,
I'm a member.
You won't take a dose of your own medicine there.
I'm on the board of directors with my homeowners association, and years ago, after I started studying Monsanto, I said, whoa, hold on, we're using Roundup on our property? Okay, you can do that anywhere else, but we're not doing that here. It's either got to be organic or you got to find another method. So now we weed whack weeds that come up in cracks in the corners instead of spraying it down. We do. I've seen them with fire devices. Those things are actually pretty cool. They're just incinerators. Just
that's it. They're gone.
And they're done. And it's like we can all make little purchasing decisions, and we could all talk with our local HOAs and our local governments about, hey, are you guys spraying that in the parks? Stop that stuff. We're paying for it. We don't want it. This guy, oh yeah, you could drink a quart of it. Oh, I have some here. You want some? No, I'm not stupid. I mean, it's unbelievable stuff. I had to get to it. And I guess, we already said, oh, here's another murder charge. I hate this one. No murder charge in case of a baby cut from a woman answering a Craigslist ad. I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but a former nurse's aide will not face murder charges for allegedly cutting and removing an unborn baby from the mother's womb, Boulder County, Colorado. Prosecutor Stanley Garrett said Thursday. The mother, Michelle Wilkins, answered a Craigslist ad for baby clothing on March 18th. When she arrived at the purported seller's home in Longmont, she was attacked, beaten, cut open, and her fetus was removed. The baby did not survive. Did you happen to catch this story at all? I mean, this is horrible, but this is the news. They killed this baby, but they're not charging her with murder, and now we're into this abortion debate because we've so devalued what life is.
Is she a police officer? Because I really can't see anybody but a cop, or maybe, Dick Cheney on a hunting accident, getting away with murder like that.
Cheney's hunting accident. Oh! I almost forgot that one. This is a story. This is actually a good story. Because that one stinks. I hate reading it. I hate hearing it. I don't know. Which is why I'm probably just going to move on from it. But Harry Reid is set to retire. Talk about a monster who got...
See, now, for those of you atheists out there, you say there's not a God. What do you call this? Is that not a miracle?
This is amazing. I actually went out... for all the injustices, like this former nurse's aide not... facing murder charges for cutting a child out of a womb. So terrible. I mean, imagine if that was your daughter, your girlfriend, or your someone in your family, or your neighbor. I mean, could you imagine? That's just so gruesome. But yeah, on the flip side of that horrible news, Harry Reid is to retire from Senate in 2016. He's here with these glasses. Now, I went out to the Bundy Ranch last year because I saw a crazy video online of police, throwing a pregnant woman to the ground and tasing some guy and releasing attack dogs on him, and then come to find out they had helicopters. They were shooting all the cattle in the skull just as they went over them for shooting practice, having fun and laughing about it. Snipers up on the mountain ranges, and all of the stories there were pointing to Harry Reid and some corrupt Chinese solar deal gone wrong, and they wanted the Bundys' land. Now,
well, his son, Harry Reid's son, it was promised the CEO with that company.
And it didn't work out quite how they were thinking it would, huh?
Exactly. That was the reason why Harry Reid wanted him off that land, was because of the fact that the Chinese company that made solar panels had promised to give Harry Reid's son, I want to think of his name. I'm trying to think of his name, Chad or something like that. Chad Reid or Charles Reid. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Sorry. But had promised that he would be the CEO of the president of the company over here on the American side.
That's Rory, R-O-R-Y, Rory.
Rory, that was it. Thank you very much.
Rory Reid.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
and the deal fell through.
And Harry Reid recently came out with a big, disgusting black eye because obviously he had an accident on his running machine, on his treadmill or something. Was the story? Do you think Harry Reid crossed the wrong person and was persuaded to leave office? I mean, it seemed like a very big message. Like, he got his ass whooped. I have no way to, I cannot report that as a fact. I'm telling you, my spidey senses are tingling. My gut instinct. Hey, he's living in Vegas. There's a lot of bodies out there in those deserts. People that never showed back up. And to play ball over there, you got to cross some people. And that Bundy Ranch thing was a nightmare last year. I mean, we almost went into full-on battle, American versus American. Yeah. It was nuts.
The only person I could see that would actually go to that link would be Sheldon.
And Sheldon is right out there. And they're all in bed together in one disgusting orgy.
That's right. Yep. That would be the only one that I would see to go that length. And for Sheldon, if that were to all transpire, to the extent of the militia against, the government, and all that were to turn out uglier than it did, Sheldon would have, his casinos and his money and his profits would have been significantly hit, big time. And so I could actually see, not Sheldon himself. I mean, I think if that man moved too fast, he'd break a femur. But I think that he could have very well paid somebody, to rough him up and kind of give him the message that this is the way it's going to be. And but don't feel bad for him, people. All right. He's got a nice fat pension plan waiting on him. He has had all the inside scoop of all the inside trading and all the information for to make a bundle of money. Don't
anytime a guy like this is gone, that's a good thing. Yeah, anyone with that many decades of corruption.
It's a good thing for us. but now Arizona has a crossroads to,
You mean Nevada? Nevada.
Nevada. I'm sorry, Nevada. They have a crossroads to pass here. Who are they going to put in its place? Is it going to be another Republican? I mean,
this guy was the top. He was the top Democrat for a while. This guy.
Yeah. Well, there's no difference. I mean, that's why I call them Republicans. There's no difference between a Republican and a Democrat. They're all the same thing.
What does Jesse Ventura say? Democrats and Republicans.
Republicans. That's right.
The Crips and the Bloods. Yeah.
That's right. So I mean, but is Nevada going to learn their lesson and realize that with the Democrats? I mean, there's nobody that they can trust there. I mean, look what Harry Reid did. I mean, that was everything he did there is exactly what they say Republicans do. When it came to the whole Bunny Ranch situation.
All these guys are completely corrupt. They're completely two-faced. They're completely hypocritical. The Dianne Feinsteins and the Barbara Boxers and the Nancy Pelosi's that we can't have guns and we got to restrict guns and this and that. Walk around with their armed guards and security. It's like
with their own armed security.
You guys aren't tricking me. You're not royalty. This isn't England. We don't play that game here. And your game is up. At some point, their game is up. I don't know. We'll see. I'm very thrilled to see this cross the line that Harry Reid is gone. But he can do plenty of damage in the next year and a half, so don't let your guard down. But I wanted to bring that to you. Two more stories here, and then I want to get your full take on ISIS and the whole creation of it as we get you on out the door, Isa Hodge.
Okay.
These two are going to circle back around to what we were talking about, these conflicts here. Let's see. Richardson. Yes, here we are. And we can't scroll because why? There we go. Former UN Ambassador and Energy Secretary Bill Richardson expressed concern over the nuclear deal with Iran. Although he said he would reserve his judgment ultimately until it's finalized, he said on Friday's Squawk Box on CNBC. Okay. Richardson said that the deal remains to be seen. There's only a few days left. I'm a little concerned. I think the nuclear deal... I was with the Energy Secretary the other day who's a nuclear scientist. The nuclear reduction, which I had wanted to be a nuclear ending of their nuclear capacity. My worry is that these other regional efforts, Iran's behavior, its support for Hamas, for Hezbollah, for its efforts in Yemen, they've got an American journalist held there, they have an American Marine. I want a package that involves a deal. Maybe if the deal involves all that, I'm going to be okay, but you never know at the last minute. I've been in these negotiations. Something may surface that addresses the issues of Iran state-sponsoring terrorism, but we'll see. I've been a backer of the administration, but on this one, I don't know where I'm going to end up. Yeah, nuclear capacity, let it end or diminish, he declared. What do you make of this whole Iran thing that's going on with the nuclear weapons and the Obama administration releasing formerly classified information about Israel's nuclear program?
Well, I mean, my thoughts go in many directions here, so I'm going to try to organize it because quite often what I just heard there actually kind of makes me a little angry, actually. First thing I'm going to say is this. How many countries has Iran invaded?
They were fighting Iraq for, 15 years? And we were stirring that up for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. And how many countries have they bombed?
I don't know the number to that. You would say 0?
Yeah, there's none. Yeah, I mean there's none. How many countries have they invaded? I mean, we look at the sheer threat. Our understanding of what a threat they are is based on what Israel is telling us. Okay, I mean we look at Uncle Bibi here, Netanyahu. Uncle Bibi in 2002 swore up and down to the Congress that if we invaded Iraq, that everything would normalize, everything would be good in Iraq, that we had to get these weapons of mass destruction. We go in there, no weapons of mass destruction, and Iraq is 1,000 times worse today than it ever was prior to that.
Iraq right? under Saddam would have been just such a nice thing if you could think, well, would you rather have that or complete chaos for a decade and a half? I don't like the guy, but he's running a good prison over there. He's running a good thing. They have a lot of outdoor time, and they're not too bad, all things considered.
Well, we didn't have to go to bomb shelters because Iraq was shooting bombs at us. Okay, I mean, what happens in other countries if we kept our nose out of it then it would resolve itself one way or the other. The people would earn their own freedom by rising up against their oppressor, or they would stay oppressed. But, you know, when we start to think that we can fit our democracy into everybody else's culture and religion and ideologies and governments, this is where problems happen. So if we fast forward to 2010, Uncle BB was at it again. He was right over here to the Congress, and I mean, literally verbatim said the same garbage about Iran. And again in 2012. And then here just as recently, he was in front of Congress again. And I got this. Did you ever get a chance, Brian, to actually look at any of those speeches from 2012 and 2010 and now when he was talking about Iran, about, you know, with his little cartoon character of a bomb? And
I remember watching that, yeah. I watched some of that. It was very grave. It was very dire.
Yes, it was. You know, it was like, because within weeks, they'll have a nuclear weapon. Well, the funny thing is that, you know, Iran has followed all of the UN sanctions, all of the investigations. Every time the Nuclear Council for the UN wants to come in and inspect, they've passed every inspection for the last 15 years with no issues, nothing. There has been nuclear scientists over there, and that even as early as the end of last year, said that they are 15 years away from just being able to weaponize plutonium or uranium, let alone an additional 5 to 8 years to be able to have a rocket, intercontinental rocket that could even reach the United States, for that matter, okay? So we're talking about 20 years before they can have anything that will ever come over here. The only issue and the only reason why we're ever involved in that is because we give $4.3 billion a year to Israel. Every single year. That's an unconditional, no strings attached. We're not going to ask you what you do with that money. We're not even going to dictate to you what you do with that money. But this is military money that we're going to give you every single year. And, oh, by the way, you've got a $1 billion slush fund that at any time with a simple writing of a note, you, in an emergency, can have access to that extra $1 billion that we will replenish every time you take from it. All right? So you have somebody that's in the Middle East that wants to be the superpower like America is on this side of the world. Well, Israel wants to be the superpower in the Middle East, and we're funding that. The only obstacle that they've had have been countries like Iraq, Iran, Syria, Afghanistan. Of course, not Saudi or Qatar or any of these Gulf states, because, I mean, they're basically in the same bed, and they're the worst countries in the world.
Saudi Arabia, for the love of God. I mean, just seeing what they're always up to, and we're always backing them.
Don't say that. Come on now. What are you trying to do? You trying to get black bag? Don't say that. You're talking about America's allies. What's wrong with you?
And that's our 52nd state then, right? Our 52nd state is Saudi Arabia?
That's our 52nd state. You know?
How many did Barack Obama go to? 57, he said when he was running the first time?
57, yeah.
Something like that. No, I mean,
you know,
it gets confusing.
The problem is this, is you have to have a boogeyman. And the thing is that there's a lot of ties into this. If you look at what Wesley Clark said, I mean, he has come out in a book, he's come out publicly, he's flat out said that he was called to the Joint Chiefs of Staff where he was given a letter and a memo. And in this memo, it had a 5-year plan, 7-world tour that America was going to be doing. I mean, they were doing a big concert in the Middle East for 7 countries in 5 years, and that they were going to bring democracy, the new rock song, rock sound of the century, and they're going to bring to 7 countries in 5 years. Now, of course, it's taken 14 years, but you had.
Let me pause there for a second. I think this might be what you're talking about.
I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the joint staff who had used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, And by that time, we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
I mean, whoa.
The truth is about the Middle East is, had there been no oil there, it would be like Africa. Nobody is threatening to intervene in Africa. The problem is the opposite. We keep asking for people to intervene and stop it. And there's no question that the presence of petroleum throughout the region has sparked great power involvement. Whether that was the specific motivation for the coup or not, I can't tell you, but there's always been this attitude that somehow we could intervene and use force in the region.
I agree with a lot of that. However, now we're all over Northern Africa as well. So, I mean, that's pretty stunning.
But they need flyover, they need military bases, they need all those things in order for them to be able. Iran is not going to be a pushover, neither is Syria, as it's actually showing out. They weren't pushovers, but it wasn't just about oil, like what Clark just said right there. It's not just about oil. It's also about Israel wanting to be the superpower in the region, number one, and the fact that they want to have their country, their boundaries set by what Herzog said in 1913 when he created Zionism to begin with, is that they want to have Israel to be from the Euphrates to the Jordan River. Well, that cuts into Saudi, that cuts more into Jordan, more into Syria, cuts more into Libya. It takes all of Palestine off the map completely. I mean, that makes for one massive country if you look at the circumference of the Euphrates to the Jordan River, which has always been the plan. It's been repeated by Sharon. It's been repeated by Bibi on numerous occasions, as well as Yaritz. I mean, there are just throughout the years of the last 50, 60 years, it has been repeated over and over and over again. Israel will be from the Euphrates to the Jordan River. So you have all these people, these indigenous people, where are they supposed to go? Here to America? To France? To England? I mean, is this what they're supposed to go to? You're just going to take their land. So it's also about one last third thing I want to mention. It's about, because there's two of the things. One is oil that helps OPEC, that helps Mobile. It helps all the other oil companies and natural resource companies get rich. It helps Israel become a superpower. Number two. But number three, also, if you look at the countries that we have conquered, they had no Rothschild banks, none in their countries. Now look at Libya.
Oh, that's all just a coincidence. That's a coincidence.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. I've got a hat and I'm a conspiracy theorist. Where Libya had, basically had the richest per capita, citizenry of the world. But now they've got loans and Rothschild banks and all that stuff. And so does Afghanistan, so does Iraq. And as soon as they're done with Syria, that'll be one of the first things they do will be the Rothschild Bank. Be one of the first things that they do. So you've got these three factors: one, to control the country's money; two, to control their resources; and the third one, which is of course Israel, and they want to be the superpower in the Middle East. So therefore, they're going to control the governments. And so this is what it's all about. With Iran, it's the same thing. What you have to weaken, and you can actually, if you Google one of my radio shows from 4 years ago, we talked about Iran, and I said that Syria was going to be next, and I said that Syria was the back door to Iran. Because it's only militarily, it's the only thing that makes sense. You have to weaken Syria in order to weaken Iran's only way of making money from its oil through Syria to China and Russia. You take that away, you take away the money from Iran. That means they're completely cut off. They have no way of being able to make money off of their oil. So you just starve them out. So this Iran deal, I think it's all puff and smoke. I have this feeling that somehow, some way, there's going to be something that's found in Iran that proves that they were doing this, that, or the other, even though we've got 15 years of UN inspections, 100% squeaky clean, but mysteriously they're going to find something, or there's going to be some explosion from a dirty bomb, or something's going to cause the deal to break down, or it could be just the fact that Obama's term runs out and Hillary gets in there, and of course we know how far her butthead shoved up Benjamin Netanyahu's backside, that it won't matter at that point. They won't need to do a false flag event or anything like that, because Hillary's just going to sign the checks just so that we can go into Iran anyways.
It's incredible when we talk about foreign policy. This was a great moment. If you haven't caught it, we got to play it here. Journalists, I'll just let it play, and hopefully it speaks for itself.
Last night went on the air.
Oh, here, I'll tell you at least who's going on. State Department spokesperson Jen Psaki talking about U.S. foreign policy in a group of journalists in this press briefing. I hope it speaks for itself because it's pretty hilarious.
President Maduro last night went on the air and said that they'd arrested multiple people who were allegedly behind a coup that was backed by the United States. What is your response?
These latest accusations, like all previous such accusations, are ludicrous. As a matter of long-standing policy, the United States does not support political transitions by non-constitutional means. Political transitions must be democratic, constitutional.
Hold on, it gets better. It gets better. Hold on.
Such accusations are ludicrous. As a matter of long-standing policy, the United States does not support political transitions by non-constitutional means. Political transitions must be democratic, constitutional, peaceful, and legal. We've seen many
I know. Hold on, it gets better.
times that the Venezuelan government tries to distract from its own actions by blaming the United States or other members of the international community for events inside Venezuela. These efforts reflect a lack of seriousness on the part of the Venezuelan government to deal with the grave situation it faces.
They are chomping at the bit. Like, hold on, wait a second. Did I just hold on a second? Did you just say what I thought you just said?
Whoa. The U.S. has a long-standing practice of not promoting. What did you say? How long-standing is that? I would.
I mean, this guy is a rock star. Whoa. Hold on.
It faces.
The U.S. has. Whoa. The U.S. has a long-standing practice of not promoting. What did you say? How long-standing is that?
How long-standing?
In particular,
he can't even put his words together.
And he chuckles.
I mean, he's sitting there with a leg crossed over the other leg, like kind of chewing on his glasses, like the end of his glasses, like, whoa. Hold on a second. I've heard crazy before, but did you really just utter the bullshit I think you just uttered? He's giving her one of these looks, and the people around her laughing. Hang on.
In America, that is not a long-standing practice.
Well, my
Deer
point
in
here,
headlights.
Matt, without getting into
Not in this
history,
case.
is that we do not support,
Not getting
we have
into
no
history.
involvement with, and these are ludicrous accusations.
Great. Will you drink a quart of that bullshit? No, I'm not stupid.
No, I'm not stupid. We're not going to talk about history, even though I just got to saying that we have a long-standing history of not being involved in other countries. Why would I talk about history for? I would prove the point you're trying to make.
It's amazing. Oh, I don't want to talk about history. Wow. Okay.
But we have a long-standing history of not doing it, but I don't want to talk about history.
She goes, whoa. The guy goes, whoa. Hold on. How long standing? And it just keeps going. You guys should check that out. Jen Psaki is the gift that keeps giving. She's fantastic. Let me kind of wrap it up on this one here, and then I'll kind of, if you want to take your answer to this and then transition into your take on ISIS. I listened to a really good Ben Swan video piece about, I think it's still our featured video at thenewamericanmedia.com on the top right side. But the whole ISIS thing is such a mess. But I want to kind of set it up here because I am very conditioned, having been somebody who was lied to. I lost my doctor. I lost my health insurance plan. My plan almost doubled. I think it's up 80-something%. It almost doubled. My premiums are up. I lost my prescription drug coverage. Every lie the president told me, on top of him passing the National Defense Authorization Act, on top of all of the other nonsense going on, I am very conditioned to think, well, if it's against President Obama, then it's good because he's so bad. And like you said, I can't believe he hasn't been removed from office already. This is I want to get your take coming from your religious side. This is a radio talk show host that definitely stirs it up. Conservative radio host Mark Levin on Thursday said that President Obama is the greatest threat to Jews in Israel since the 1930s. He says Barack Obama, as a result of this and the other things he's doing, including arming up the Islamo-Nazis in Tehran, is the greatest threat the Jews face, not in this country, but in Israel since the 1930s. Levin said that Obama's relationship with Israel and his decision to negotiate a nuclear deal with Iran threaten Israeli Jews. Quote, he's the greatest threat they face since the 1930s, and I say that because he is doing more now to degrade Israel's military and defense posture, its intelligence information. He's doing more now to arm Israel's enemy than anybody. He's the greatest threat that the nation faces, and by the way, he's a great threat to our nation too, as far as I'm concerned. Now, what do you make of that? With me being, like I said, if Obama's for it, I'm probably against it, and President Obama just does not like the Israel. You know it when he didn't show up at the speech, when Netanyahu spoke in front of Congress anyway. It is very frosty. That would be the warmest way we could say that. They dislike each other, Obama and Netanyahu. What do you make of Mark Levin's comments here about Obama and Israel?
Well, he sounds like I mean, I have no problem with Jews. My faith itself says that the people of the book. It's Zionists that I have a problem with, and Zionists are the ones that are causing a lot of the issues that we have in this world.
Explain the difference to people that don't know any better.
Well, Jews are those who follow the Torah, right? They're the ones that follow their faith. Those are the ones that are spiritual people that believe in their God. But the Zionists actually follow the Talmud. The Talmud is a very filthy book. It has excerpts in there where it says that Mary, mother of Jesus, and Jesus are in hell right now, boiling in feces and sperm, right? That Mary was a whore, and that, it's very derogatory towards Christians. It calls Christians, they're goyim, they're slaves. Basically, Zionists, according to the Bible, they're recognized in Isaiah, where they say, you will know them from their works that they worship at the synagogue of Satan. Even my book, the Quran, talks about them as well. It talks about the difference between a Jew, the people of the book, and a Zionist. Now, the word Zionist is a relatively new word for the Bible and the Quran, so the word Zionist does not exist there. But the description of who they are and what they're doing is in both the Bible and the Quran. And it talks about them that they're devil worshippers, basically. These are not people of God. They're not the people of the book. They're not the tribe of Judah. Okay, these people are devil worshippers, and they don't care who they kill, who they use. As Henry Kissinger said, our soldiers here are nothing but cannon fodder. Okay? That's all we are, is cannon fodder. And this was recently that he said this. So I'm anti-Israel in the sense that Israel will not negotiate a two-state solution. And that's what is the only thing that will cause peace in that region, is a two-state solution. Period. I'm not saying that Israel has to give up its land and move back to Europe. I'm not saying any of that stuff. What's done is done. Because if Israel has to pack up and move, well, guess what? So do the rest of us in America. We got to give it back to the Native Americans.
Everybody's somewhere. Everybody is currently somewhere.
That they didn't start out with, or that they took from someone else. I mean, that's just the history of man. Now that we're here, now let's find ways that we're not killing. As basically, that was just released today, an article that I read. They did a study that actually the Holocaust of Palestinians, and not just Palestinian Muslims, but Palestinian Christians as well, are dying in Gaza and the West Bank as well, all right? But the Holocaust of them, the occupation of them, is actually greater than what happened to the Jews in Germany during World War II. Now, this was written by, I want to say I read it out of The Guardian is where I read this out of. But they're also talking about this last summer, the death toll of Palestinians is the greatest since 1967 with the first intifada that happened.
It's amazing how much good journalism you got to find out of The Guardian and RT. Very anti-American, very quick to criticize American policies. We're getting good stories from the Snowden stuff and the Russia Today stuff with Crimea and Ukraine, and it's a tangled web that we weave.
But there's lies within them too, especially with the RT. As much as I like the RT, for me personally, I don't know what you do, Brian, but I like the source check. When I read stories, I don't care if it's from Anti-Media, I don't care if it's from mintpress.com, I don't care if it's what alternative news source it is. Even if it's something I already agree with, I still fact check to make sure that what I'm reading is true. And if I can get 3, 4, 5 other news sources that can collaborate with the basics of the information, then that means it's the truth, because I'm not in Palestine. I don't know how many people died in Palestine. I only know not because of mainstream media, but because of is sourcing the facts through 3, 4, 5 different news agencies. So
no, and that's the truth. That's all we have in this new media, this new American media, as it were. All we have is our reputation, and when we start putting garbage stories out there, people are going to notice that, and they're going to stop taking us seriously. Like it's fine to put a hilarious or introspective or funny kind of post out there, and that's fine. That does its purpose. But when there's really bold, brash claims made without anything to back it up, you instantly look at that and go, well, I'm not trusting that site again. It doesn't take long, and if you're in this business like you and I are, you know who has generally sourced their stuff. I might not like Alex Jones' delivery method and the way that some of the conclusions he jumps to.
Sometimes.
You know what? But he does his damn research, and he cites his articles with 50 different links throughout every single thing he puts out.
And he admits freely that his parent company is owned by a Zionist. He openly admits it. He openly admits that. But more to the point about Obama, this is the thing. I'm trying to peek behind the curtains this, because it is counterintuitive to the 5-year, 7-year, 7-country tour plan. It is counterintuitive to, what we've done since 1967, $121 billion since 1967 we have given to Israel. It's counterintuitive to, just the unbreakable bond between the two. Is it because Uncle Bibi slept with Obama's wife? That's the reason why there's a personal issue? Could it be because they're trying to set us up in order to prepare us for another Republican in the White House? So we're just going to take this anti-Israeli stance towards the end of my career. But I'll tell you what it's not. What it's not is he is not a Muslim. The man is not a Muslim. He has admitted out of his own mouth that he's not a Muslim. That's enough for any Muslim that's a Muslim, because you can't say that. If you're a Muslim, you're a Muslim. If you're not, you say you're not, then you're not. But on top of that, the man has actually killed more Muslims than Bush did.
Now that much is true, but doesn't it say in the book somewhere in the Quran that you can lie if it's to further your cause?
You're talking about taqiyya, and I like that sauce on my tacos. And actually, that is another false meme that goes around. Lying is actually only permissible on 3 occasions. All right? One is in the act of saving somebody's feelings. Like if my wife comes to me and says, hey, does this make you look fat? If I say yes, I'm not going to get any affection from her for a while. So I lie and say, no, honey, it looks great. You're just fine. Don't you worry about that. Second time is if it's going to save somebody's life. Then we can lie. And the third, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, and the third?
And the third one is during war, it is a lie. And during the Prophet Muhammad's peace and blessings of God be upon him during his time, he actually used a lie. He told one of his men to spread a rumor that they were retreating from the battlefield in order to sucker them in. And when they came in, they were able to attack and they were able to fight. That is a part of war, is deception.
Like Sun Tzu in The Art of War, and some people could say that someone like a President Obama in the power position that he has, in order to save lives of XYZ country, XYZ nation, XYZ leadership, XYZ whatever, a lie could be made to do that. People have looked at Barack Obama as being a Manchurian candidate for a long time. People looked at George Bush being part of the New World Order, just, the next line in the chain of puppeteers that are controlling everything behind the scenes. And I don't know what the easy answer is here, but I like having you on because you're definitely coming at it from a different perspective, and I think just being libertarian in general, I think I just want to be left alone. I want to do my thing and let other people do their thing until someone wants to force me to do something, and that would be conversion, that would be just any use of force.
If one more Jehovah's Witnesses knocks on my door, I'm sorry, but that's a violation of my lip. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, Isa, let me
interrupt just briefly for 1 second, because I want to finish the last thing about Taqiyya.
Yeah, sure.
Taqiyya, the act of Taqiyya is only practiced by Shia. That is a Shia, and that's only 70% of the Muslims in the world. There's 1.6, 1.7 billion of us. Only 70% of them are Shia, and that act of Taqiyya is practiced, preached, and taught by them, not by the majority, which is Sunni. So I just want to get that fact out there.
Hey, it's a very, you could ask 100 people, and there's very few that are going to understand the distinctions. What percent are going to go, Merica? How many people are going to say, death to Israel? How many people are going to, it's like, if some people are pre-programmed to have their, knee-jerk reaction, very few people take the time to know the difference, and it's something I could study a very long time and only get up to a moderate amount of general information on. But hey, over here at the New American Media, we say seeking truth, challenging dogma, and having fun. Join the mostly civil conversation over here. So, Isa, thank you for joining us on today's program. It's nice meeting all you guys at Solutions Institute. We're bringing quite a few of you guys over here. Bobby Rodrigo and Alex Freeman, and we're gonna be having some more people from the group jump on over and just talk about the stuff in the news. So really quick, give out your website and where people can stay connected with you until the next time you're on the show.
That's right. You can find me on Facebook at Wake Up Merica, Merica. Okay, the show is a Muslim and a Catholic Wake Up in America, and it has to be said that way, Merica.
Merica.
Okay? And Merica, that's right, Merica. Don't put the in front of it.
Merica.
And you can also go to our website, Muslim and Catholic Wake Up America.com.
Excellent,
right?
Isa. Thank you so much. On Twitter and Facebook, you over there too?
I'm sorry?
On Twitter and Facebook, you're on Twitter?
Yeah, on Twitter you'll find me at Isa Hodge, ISAHAJJ. That's where you'll find me at Twitter. I'm relatively new, so please come and join me and teach me how I can learn to say things in 180 characters or less.
Yeah, 140 characters, it gets real tight, but hey. To be continued, man. Thanks for joining us. We're going to take a pause right here, and we'll be back bringing Rob Troutman. We're going to talk about the Major League Baseball season that is upon us. It is one of my favorite times of the year.